Is going to stick around with us as we make the turn to this.
You know what? Our Constitution is much more important than jail. It's not even close. I'll do that sacrifice any day.
Donald Trump saying he would rather go to jail than comply with the gag order in his New York hush money trial after Judge Juan Merchan found Trump in contempt for violating that order for the 10th time. Merchan told Trump directly in court on Monday, quote, "The last thing I want to do is put you in jail. You are the former president of the United States and possibly the next president." Just a reminder, this is new territory for all of us.
Right, the judge threatened to throw Trump in jail while also acknowledging he could be the next president of the United States. That is a wild series of words. But we're somehow accustomed to it. I guarantee when most people saw that headline, they just scrolled past it on their phone, like, oh, Trump might go to jail. And then, whoa, did you hear this new Kendrick diss track?
I mean, some truth, Sakai. To your point, I mean, it is. I just want to spend a second that it is remarkable that a judge just told the presumptive Republican presidential nominee and a former president of the country that he could go to jail.
Well, and one of the things that Donald Trump amazingly does well in Defying Gravity is he simultaneously plays the martyr and the strongest person in the room, right? And that he tries to do that simultaneously, and it works with him and his base. I think the challenge that Trump and his team face is it is a base play. And so we're hearing so much about how this would help Donald Trump if he were actually sent to jail. You get into very high cotton at that point and risky territory if you're thinking that. Because if people see the potential president going to jail, a lot of those independent voters, a lot of those Nikki Haley voters, and they're still voting for Nikki Haley, might say, wait a second, this is not a direction I want to go in. It will be a big fundraising moment for Trump, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Congressman, it's kind of wild that we have to, raise this as a hypothetical, but here we are. I mean, Trump going to jail or being detained or even this conversation, what is the political ramification of it?
If this is how he behaves in a courtroom, how is he going to behave in the Oval Office? We need to remind the American people of the chaos of the Trump years and underscore that now any boundaries and standards that may have accompanied his first administration will be jettisoned in a potential second administration. Meanwhile, Joe Biden and Democrats are trying to figure out how to lower the cost of health care, trying to invest in infrastructure, trying to expand domestic manufacturing to outcompete China. It's Team Normal versus Team Extreme, and Donald Trump is the absolute exemplar of Team Extreme.
And if Trump is sent to jail real quickly, every congressional Republican is going to put out a statement or a tweet supporting Donald Trump,
right,
and then privately say, this is the last thing I want to be talking about.
And we will hold them all to account for it come November to the Democratic Party. They need to be tied to the extremism that he represents.
Elliot, what did you read into the judge's remarks? I mean, do you think he's actually going to do this?
I think I read very judgerly hedging on it because he used strong language, and I think he's prepared to put the former president behind bars. But there's a few things. One, he laid out, as he should have, you're a candidate for office, you're a former and maybe future president. Cover your ears, Congressman. But for those reasons, I'm very reluctant to put you behind bars. Also because doing so will slow down the criminal trial that it is in the interest of the public to complete. And he even says in the order here, if appropriate and warranted, he will put the president behind bars. And I just think he's hedging a little bit and reluctant to do it.
I just think on the raw politics, you're right that members of Congress are going to, Republicans, if that happens, in the off chance,
in the unlikely event.
Yes. Republicans would put out statements saying this is outrageous. I know judges are not supposed to have political antenna up, but he basically said, the judge said, I don't want to do this. And it's not just because of his stature of what he was and what he could be. There's no question that the judge understands that the political backlash to putting Donald Trump in jail would be maybe even incomprehensible.
A judge texted me last night saying he's got to do it for all judges all around from the perspective of
the judiciary.
Legal,
right.
Of course, it's for the integrity of the judiciary. I think this judge doesn't live in fantasy land and knows there's a huge pushback.
Yeah, right, for sure. All right. Well, on that note, a conversation Dan and I are going to continue to have Elliot too, I think, all day here on CNN as we cover the trial, which resumes again at 9:30 this morning. Thanks to our panel. Congressman, thank you for joining us. Thanks to all of you for being with us. Don't go